Hare Krishna. Thank you, all devotees. Shivam Prabhu, can I now make my presentation?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Thank you, all dear devotees, for joining. And I want to briefly share the philosophical premise or the foundation of what I spoke before Japa. The surrender, the topic of surrender, we are going to dive into it deeply. Generally, when we hear the word surrender, we imagine that I have to follow some rules, I have to get a particular job, I have to put on dhoti, kurta, tilak. Surrender is generally associated with activities, which is true. At the same time, there is deeper understanding. So we will enter this topic. Even if we can't complete today, we will continue in our next ABC session. I want to speak about the principle of being with Krishna, being with the Lord. Generally, we focus on doing things for Krishna, which is important. But we also need to be with Krishna. Like one person asked me, when do we realize God? Do I have to die and then go back home, back to God, and then I experience God? I said, no. You go back to Krishna only if you can receive him here. You can experience God now. You are living in this world. So we need to receive Krishna. We need to be with Krishna. So immediately he said, what should I do to receive Krishna? I want you to pause. I want you to slow down and understand what I'm saying. We are so habituated to think that I have to keep doing something all the time that even when I told him, you have to be with Krishna, he said, what should I do to be with Krishna? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very, very subtle. See, I could easily sense that he is in which house, which of the three houses he is living in: sense gratification, struggle, or surrender. He is in the struggle zone. He's struggling. So I wanted to pull him into the surrender zone. I said, you don't have to do anything, just be, be. He said, really? But he said, you guys in Hare Krishna, you are constantly doing rituals, you are constantly doing temple worship, you are completing 16 rounds, you are doing so many things. If ultimately you just have to be, why like that? So then I explained to him, please understand this. There are two steps to experience Krishna in our life. This is very, very, very important. The first step is we do activities to connect with Krishna. What are the activities? Like we chant, we go to temple, we offer lamb, we offer dandavat, all that. See, this is all important because we have to be pulled out of sense gratification and we want to come to Krishna. So these rituals are a runway to God. But what happens? Our mind is constantly running here and there. So therefore, we have to struggle. We have to pull the mind back. We have to do these activities like offer dandavat. We don't like to offer, but still we offer dandavat. We cook food and then we put that food plate in the altar and we offer arti or we offer prayers and then we take that food as prasad. So we need to do these activities diligently, constantly. So what we do as devotees, we pray, we read scriptures, we chant, we serve, and all traditions have their discipline. So that is universal. But what happens then as we are doing these rituals, which are important so that we are not in sense gratification zone, but as we are in these rituals, we get trapped by the other extreme. And that is, we just keep struggling with these rituals. We forget to understand that I have to let go. I have to let go the struggle. It is not simply meeting some gaps. It is not simply doing and ticking boxes. I know this sounds a little vague, but I'm going to make it more specific. See, if you have to watch Netflix, for example, you want to watch some movies, then you don't have to struggle. You are just, see, when the lower nature has to be activated, there is no struggle. You can simply smoke, drink, watch movies. You can just do it easily. But when it comes to devotional service, it's not easy. We are doing all the time. We are pulling the mind back. So this pulling the mind back is important From sense gratification, you have to pull it back and you have to struggle. But if you're struggling all the time and we're not entering the third space, which is surrender, then from struggle, we'll go back to sense gratification. We have to jump to the surrender zone. So for that, to surrender to Krishna, we need to understand this doing and being. Okay, I'll give a simple example. When you get things done, you are doing. Like, for example, you're cooking a meal, cooking prasad, that is doing. You are planning a holiday, that is doing. If you're a scientist, you want to send a satellite to space, that is doing. So what happened when you cooked a meal? You plugged the gap. When you finalized a holiday plan, what were you doing? There was a task and you completed that. See, when you finish a project or a journey, you have successfully done something. That is doing. Doing is necessary to lead an effective life, to be effective in this world. We need to be doing all the time. But there are some areas, please understand, please, my dear devotees, understand that there are some areas where doing doesn't work. Like, for example, when you are relaxing, you don't do relaxing, you just be. See, that urge to do, you have to let go. So, in contrast to doing, being is when you're not doing, but you're allowing things to happen to you. Like, for example, hearing the class. So when I used to hear the class initially, I used to write notes. I used to catch what is the point Prabhuji is saying, and I used to write it. And I used to just try to get the whole class in my head and on my paper and get it in control. But sometimes what I do is I let go the struggle. I allow whatever the Prabhuji is saying in the class to enter me and allow it to influence me. I let go the struggle. So that way we can relax all the time, actually. But we can't do all the time. At least sometime we should relax. Like, for example, you go to an ocean side on the beach, you are relaxing. So no, you can't. Now what happens? Many of us, we feel happy. Suddenly we take out our smartphone and we want to take photographs from different angles. We get into the doing space immediately. Actually, when you are on the ocean side, you need to allow the gentle breeze to caress you. When you hear that soft rumbling of the waves which are hitting the shore, that you need to be present with that. You can't be on a project to complete something. Okay, I'm going to the ocean side, I'm going to the beach, I've got 30 minutes, ho gaya. That is an exercise I had to do. No, you can't, everything cannot be ticking boxes. You are not trying to achieve something at a certain level of meditation. You just have to be. So in psychology, what is this called? This is called task negative mode of the brain. See, the brain has a state where we are not doing any task, and that nourishes the brain, and actually that is also the default setting of the brain. But the task positive mode is when we are doing and the focus is on the goals. So we are concentration personified. We write, we think, we do, and that is important, but you need to balance it with task negative mode. Like, I sometimes go for my morning walk. I go in the evenings also. It is so tempting to, okay, I walk for 40 minutes. Okay, done. Exercise done today. I've got 20 things to do every day. No, but sometimes I need to abandon that mode of doing. I need to access a space beyond struggle. If you have seen many Nobel laureates, when you ask them, how they made this discovery or the most amazing idea they got, it manifested in their head. It happened when they were in a relaxed state. When the juxtaposition of various thoughts, it happens when you are in a relaxed space. Like you lose something and you're searching for it, you're struggling, then you don't get it. Then you let go the struggle, you do your other duties, and later on when you're relaxing, it is revealed to you where you had kept it. So many things in life are not understood by our doing mode. So the psychology is like this. When we are in the being state, we are detached. When we are in the doing mode, we are in control. So we need control in life. But if you're a control freak, you will be unhappy. And you'll be in disorder. Therefore, we need to time practice detachment also. That is why I said while chanting, for some time, let go the struggle. Don't try to control the mind. Just let Krishna take charge. Let go. So the best way to gain balance, see, our ABC community is all about awareness, balance, and connection. And balance is very important. If you want balance and connection, then we need to let go at the right time. Okay, I've been struggling the last 7 hours. Now I'm placing myself as an instrument in the hands of Krishna. This is a state of being. And this is what awards rich benefits for devotees. But many of us, I'm sorry to say, I'm actually talking about myself, we have become doing addicts. Just like we have alcohol addicts, cigarette, drug addicts. I'll tell you how I was a doing addict. Maybe I'm still am. Near our temple, we have hanging garden, a very famous garden. It's a beautiful garden. I sometimes go there for a stroll in the evenings. And because of the hectic schedule and services and meetings in the ashram, so I would look at my watch and I would calculate, okay, now it is 5. So 5 to 7, I'll be in the garden and I'll relax. So I would anticipate that I'll walk around the fragrant rose bushes. I imagine sitting under that large banyan tree. So what happens is hope of a well-spent evening. Okay, I'm going to spend nicely. But that would help me tolerate the monotonous meetings in the temple sometimes, management and all of that. But what happened, something interesting happened. Over a period of time, I realized that my precious time in the garden, those 2 hours, was not as fulfilling as I had imagined it would be. And I was to wonder why I'm not feeling that happy. I went to the garden with this agenda to relax. Why I'm not feeling like that? What is going wrong? So one day I did an experiment. So a lot of meetings, a lot of classes. So I thought, okay, now I'm in the garden. I've got 2 hours. I'll just breathe. I will relax. And I saw as I was relaxing, my mind jumped to plan making. I came back. I said, no, relax, relax. Just appreciate the garden. Just be present. I looked at the birds flying back to their nests and things like that. So my mind was slowing down. My mind was slowing down. And then I got the itch to take out my watch from the bag and see the time. I said, no, just do nothing. Just be there. Just be present. And you know what happened after some time? After maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 minutes, I was just relaxing. Suddenly, eureka, a realization dawned on me that last few weeks, I was in the garden, but I was not happy because in the garden, I was making plans. I was solving the problems in my head. So externally, I was in the beautiful garden. Externally, I was in a very good garden. But internally, I was doing many things. I was ticking off many boxes. So I was in the doing mode whole day. And when I came to relax in the garden, the hangover, the hangover of being in the doing mode whole day, it remained. And even when I'm supposed to relax, I was doing in the mind. And therefore, I'd become a doing addict. So then I realized, oh, relax, let go. And I sat down. And look at the way the mind tricks us. Then the mind attempted to fix this lacunae. Okay, you are so much into doing. So now there is a problem. You solve this problem by doing these things. See, again, the mind wants to plan all the time. The mind wants to figure out solutions for everything. Even for getting out of doing mode, the mind wants to do something. And see, this is ironical. Just try to understand the irony here. It was my planning to relax that was my scourge. That was my actual problem. And it was this plan making which prevented me from relaxing. And my determination and resolve to relax was the very problem. Because I was unable to relax because I was thinking too much about relaxing. I was doing instead of simply being. I'm not sure if what I'm saying is making sense, but I'm trying my best to use as simple words as possible to explain this phenomenon. This is a very common problem with many, many devotees. The more we struggle to relax, the more elusive it becomes because the mind is running fast. When I go to the bathroom and I see the exhaust fan moving, I look at it and I say, oh, this is my mind. The mind is moving like the exhaust fan all the time. So how do we relax? Okay. So I'm going to share with you 4 things you could do, and you can experience immediately the joy of being, the joy of surrender. And for this, I need your attention. And this is extremely powerful. This is based on different devotee realizations plus some psychology that I had been reading for many years. and I personally practice this. I'm not going to share with you my failure or struggle stories. I'm going to share with you only my success stories, because that will inspire you. And there is amazing benefits of this 4 principle that I'm going to share with you. This is called 4 A's. And first is awareness. Okay, now what do you mean by awareness? Okay, now let's take a 5-minute, not now it's not possible. Maybe after this ABC session, you can sit in your room and do this exercise. I would love to hear from the next class, maybe through some channel, maybe Shivam Prabhu can do, maybe some email. I don't know how you can make it. I want to know your experience of this exercise. I'm going to share with you an amazing exercise. Do this and write to me on email or somewhere. I want to know your realizations. This exercise is 5 minutes. I will just be. Okay, what that means? What that means is you will simply resolve that you will simply observe the mind. That is called awareness. You will not do anything that the mind is telling you to do. Like, let us say you get up and you go and drink water. That means you have failed in the process. Again, you have to start 5 minutes. So in this 5 minutes alarm, you just sit down and you ask the question, what is happening right now? What is happening right now? And the answer to this question is awareness. I'll repeat. When you answer this question, what is happening right now? That is awareness. For example, now I'm just telling you, I'm sitting in a room in my Brahmachari ashram and giving this talk class. So right outside my room, there are devotees like Gaur Gopal Prabhu, Govind Prabhu. They're all different devotees here, moving about, drying clothes. So I can see all of that. So if I take a video camera and observe all of this, then I have successfully become aware of what's happening in the external world. Now, let me put the video camera inside my body, inside my mind. If I could ask the same question about my inner world, what's happening in my mind at this moment? What is happening inside? When I ask this question, then I see my mind is planning the evening. My mind is planning what is there for dinner. I took early breakfast. So if I close my eyes and I'm right now talking to you, but if I stop, I know because of experience, I know what will happen. The mind will run to 1,000 events. And if I know where my mind is, I have practiced awareness. Is awareness clear? Simple. Awareness means just to know what is happening right now in your inner world. This is the first A. So if you can practice this, and I'll be very, very, very grateful, because you are making a very important step in the journey of experiencing Krishna consciousness. You are entering the space of being. That is awareness. Now comes the journey, the second step of the journey. This is the challenge. Now, if you crack this one, your life will change dramatically. The landscape of your spiritual life will alter. And this is called acceptance. Awareness is clear, right? Now, acceptance is, so you pause. You become aware of what the mind is saying. So when you become aware, you may realize, oh, my mind is worrying about the finances. So now when we become aware that the mind is worried about finances, can I accept that my mind is worrying? Wait, I know this is not easy, but it is very easy. I'll just explain it with an example. Recently, one of my friends, he told me, Prabhuji, I'm very frustrated with my wife, with my family, with my parents. He was speaking about his frustration. So I was listening. And as I was listening and nodding my head, at some point of time, he was sharing his frustration. And suddenly he felt, somewhere he must have felt that I'm going to judge him. So you know what he did? He said, actually, Prabhuji, I'm not frustrated. Actually, I'm struggling a lot in my house, in my family situation. So he started speaking about his, it's actually struggle, Prabhuji. Again, I kept saying, yes, Prabhu, I understand. So then, but I could see he was still thoughtful, still pensive. And then he said, honestly, Prabhuji, honestly, it's not actually a struggle. I'm actually trying my best to balance the situation at home. It's all about balance. I kept empathizing with him, and I knew, see, you know what is happening with him? He had awareness of his predicaments, he had awareness of his situation, but he couldn't accept that he's frustrated. So he was trying to deny that he's frustrated, and he kept saying, no, 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 I'm not frustrated, I'm okay. See, this is very, very important point what I'm saying. If you can accept yourself, yes, I am frustrated with this, it's okay. It's okay to be frustrated. That is called acceptance. If this example doesn't make sense or doesn't click, I'll give another example. This is quite intense about acceptance. So there is one family I know. I'm unfortunately, of course I won't take names, but this example is very powerful. They were serving the oldest member of the family who was 96 years old. He was the grandfather of the Prabhuji, who was taking care. And they had been taking care of the Mataji and Prabhuji. She is like the daughter-in-law, the granddaughter-in-law. They were taking care of him for 15 years. He was bedridden. So what happened? One day he died. One day he left his body, this old man. So, and they sincerely took care of him for 15 years. So after a month, I met this family and we were talking. And the couple started expressing regret. Prabhuji, you know, we didn't serve our grandfather sincerely. I said, no, no, no. I reassured them. You are very nice. You are exemplary. You know, you have done the best for him. And because I know what is happening in the last 15 years, it was not easy for them. You know, it was a very small house they were living in. And this grandfather was very tantrum throwing and he was very unreasonable. And the couple and their children, they tried their best to keep their sanity and they tried their best to serve. And now, after 15 years of serving, this man left his body, he died. But still, this family was in pain. And I told them, see, I gave them love, I gave them comfort. But as the conversation progressed, I suddenly caught them off guard. I asked them a question which just blew their mind away. I said, are you feeling guilty because you are feeling relief that your grandfather died? They were like, what? I said, you are relieved because very hectic and very demanding schedule you had of caring for him. And now you are miserable because you feel relief. They were like, I remembered that Mataji's jaw, lower jaw dropped. It was as if, yeah, they looked at each other and they gave a long sigh. The tears came in their eyes and they silently affirmed that what I had suggested was right. What I had done, you know, what I had done just now? I had helped them move from awareness to acceptance. That is what I had done. So when you feel envious of someone or when you feel lusty, now can you pause, become aware, and more importantly, can you accept means Krishna, I am envious of this person or I'm lusty about this person. Krishna, see, forget about the prayers, forget about telling Krishna to remove all of that. That is later. We're not getting into that. I'm just saying, can you accept? Can you accept what is there? Can you accept your inner state without judging yourself for it? See, awareness is easy. It just requires you to pause and ask what is happening now. That's all. But acceptance is more difficult. Because I'll tell you why acceptance is difficult. Because most of us impulsively we want to change our inner state. We immediately say, oh, everything is all right. Or yes, it is not good, but I'll change it. So we want to overcome all our insecurities, or we say everything is all right. We have a desperation to improve our mental condition. So what we do, because of this desperation, we bypass this critical second step, which is just accept that you are worrying, accept that you have lust. In fact, don't even call it lust. Just accept that this is part of your biology, this is part of your psychology, this is part of who you are grown up with. So if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling melancholy, can you accept it? See, I know people mechanically say, Prabhuji, I accept I'm lusty. I accept I'm envious. No, this is not real acceptance. The proof is, how can we know whether you are in acceptance? Are you desperate to change your inner state right now? If you are desperate, that means you're not accepted. See, you practice acceptance when you don't immediately jump to remove your problem. You're not in a hurry to overcome. Your actions not impulsive. See, most of the positive YouTube videos I see, positive mantras, motivational talks, they deny this humanness in our melancholy, in our state. They it's a desperate attempt to be happy. All these videos are like, just do this, you'll be happy. No, I did this wrong, or I've done this and it's okay. I accept myself the way I am. The ability to tell myself is acceptance. When I say that I'm aware that I'm sad and I accept this, it's okay to be sad. I wish I was happier, but this is what it is. I'm miserable and I accept my situation. There is no analysis, there is no justification, there is no understanding why I'm sad. I am aware and I accept, period. That's it. Acceptance punctures the mind's rant. The mind is constantly crying. The mind loves to go on extreme. First, it will complain about your finances. You don't have money, you don't have. Then it will jump to a solution. First, it will cry, then it will wail, then it will remain sad. And you are exhausted. But the result of all of this is you are exhausted. Therefore, before you find a solution to your inner problems, which the mind is imagining, forget the solutions. First, accept your situation. Accept whatever is the inner condition. So this is awareness and this is acceptance. And third step is a game changer. It is called allow. Allow. After the mind's crying doesn't stop, you allow the worry to remain inside you. You say, I now allow this envy to remain with me. You will say, अरे ये तो हरे कृष्णा में कोई बोला नहीं, ये तो गलत है. How can you allow envy to remain in you? How can you allow lust to remain in you? No. Basically, you are giving your mind the space to cry. You are making peace with your, all of us, we all have a spouse. Our first spouse is our mind. You may have the most wonderful wife or husband, but the first husband or wife you have in your life is your mind. So when you allow that anartha, that bad feeling or whatever to remain within you, basically you are allowing your spouse space. You are embracing the discomfort. Basically, we have to learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. I love this. Keshav Maharaj in he has one lecture on YouTube, Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj, beautiful. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable. So many of us, whenever we are uncomfortable, we jump to change it. But when you say, my dear mind, or when you tell yourself, I allow this lust to remain, I allow my mind to have these lusty thoughts, what you are doing is, you are not judging your mind and you're accepting your mind for what it is. That doesn't mean you don't want to change. I'm not saying that you want to remain envious or lusty. No, I'm just saying, first understand, awareness means knowing that the mind is miserable. Acceptance means not to deny and live with it. Allowing means consciously, without judgment, making peace with your misery. Making peace with it. I again clarify, I'm not saying you capitulate. I'm not saying you surrender to the mind. I'm just saying I don't like my situation. But by allowing my mind to remain envious, sad, lusty, I'm declaring to the universe that I am at peace. I am in a state of being. I am not doing anything radical to change my situation. And this is a powerful declaration to Krishna. Krishna, I am not my mind. I have accepted and allowed my mind to be where it is. I am a different person than my mind. Instead of telling Krishna I'm different from my mind, you are simply indirectly telling this to Krishna because you are saying, I allow the mind to be what it is. So this is the paradox. This is the paradox of being at peace. It appears you have 4-second control. It appears as if your mind is going to be always lusty and envious. But paradoxically, you will have more control now. This is the beauty of this process. I don't know about America. America, they have Navy SEALs. In India, we have Marine Commandos, also known as Marcos. I don't know if you've heard of them. They are like extremely tough training. So one part of the training, they have an interesting training session called Hell Week. So in 1 week, 20 hours every day they have to do training. So that is 140 hours of training in that week. It is called hell week because they make you go through hell. They get only 4 hours for eating, bathing, and rest. And 20 hours they have to work. So what happens? Most people, they fail this. And the program is designed to break the soldiers. And whoever completes this 1 week of training, it is said that 5 years from their lifespan is reduced because of the intensity of the effort. But still, you'll be surprised. There are a few people who have completed 2 hell weeks in their entire career, or 3. There are some people who have done 3 hell weeks. And they have done research at how did they pass this rigorous test. So there are some people who would calculate as the test began. Okay, 140 hours. So now 70 done. Now 70 remaining. Now 40 remaining. 30 remaining. So they would usually fail the test because they were focusing on how much I have to tolerate. They couldn't go on till the end. But there are others, those who succeeded, their psychology was, okay, I don't like this. I'm suffering. My body is paining. My mind is protesting. But I accept it. I allow my mind to cry. I accept it. So what happens? So they are going through the grueling training program. They are not happy about it, but they're allowing the mind to be what it is. And ironically, they get more control, although they're allowing their mind to remain sad, or although they're allowing their mind to remain in pain. See, this is a very subtle point. When we're in emotional pain, if we learn to quietly tolerate it, you will see that you are basically embracing the pain. And when you embrace the pain, please know this, my dear devotees, when you embrace the pain, you find a strange sense of peace coming to your heart. Because there is, that eye of the storm has peace. Similarly, when we learn to live with the pain, we discover an ineffable peace. So out of the 4 A's, I've spoken 3. Awareness, acceptance, and allowing. But the most important is the 4th, which is, I don't know if you remember, I've spoken it right in the beginning. Don't act. Don't get up and do anything. It's not that, okay, the mind is saying, it's not that when you allow the mind to be lusty, that doesn't mean you actually engage in lusty activities. The 4th is most important. Don't act on what the mind is saying. Just awareness, acceptance, and allowing. I don't know if this makes sense. I'll give an example. There is one Prabhuji, Sham Prabhu. I asked his permission to give this example. He is diagnosed with diabetes and he is not supposed to eat sweets. So his craving would get intense. So his family would always be policing his consumption of sweets. So he became desperate and he felt miserable. So he tried awareness. So, okay, I have see how to improve awareness. We will discuss in our next ABC session. But instead of grabbing sweets, he would now be more aware. Okay, my mind is asking for sweets. So he was aware. Awareness was not enough because what happened? He would control, but one day suddenly he would pick up sugar and eat sugar after 5 days of controlling. And he would indiscriminately eat anything after a few days of restrictions. So that's when he realized that awareness is not sufficient. So he started accepting. He said, okay, I accept that I love sweets. I accept the pain. I accept the pain that I have for not having sweets. I accept this pain. See, remember, the key is don't do anything. Just that 4th one is very important. Don't act on it. So when he said, I accept, I love sweets. I accept my mind wants sweets. The mind roared. Okay, you accept, then eat. Take the chocolate now. Because you're accepting. So the mind will shout. Eat. So then instead of grabbing the chocolate, he again practiced awareness and acceptance. He said, I'm aware that my mind is now roaring. I accept that my mind wants a chocolate right now. So as he was doing this, he was allowing this desire to coexist in his mind. He said, this is what he said. This is what he's allowing. I give permission for this desire to stay in my mind. I accept the pain of not having the sweets. So then he saw, now look at the paradox. He was feeling peace, but paradoxically, he was also in pain. See, the mind pulled him in all directions. Okay, now pick up the phone and check the WhatsApp message. So if you had checked up the WhatsApp message, you would have broken the 4th step. Don't act. So again he sat And again, he practiced awareness, acceptance, allowing by saying, I am now aware that the mind wants to pick up the phone to forget the pain of no sweets. I accept this pulling of the mind to check my WhatsApp. I allow the urge to check phone to remain in me. Are you understanding? Awareness, acceptance, and allowing. Then the mind says, okay. Then you watch YouTube now. Watch YouTube reels. So again, this is the distraction. So again, I'm aware that the mind wants to watch YouTube reels. I accept, I allow this desire to remain. Each new proposal the mind was giving, see, it all began with what? The pain of not having sweets. So when you didn't give in to that urge, the mind somehow wants some pleasure. So the more you allow, so what happens? There is a time limit to all these urges. After some time, the urge goes away. Mind becomes peaceful. Ideally, busy yourself, but then what happens if we busy ourselves with electronic gadgets and virtual world? Then the craving doesn't go. It comes back to haunt us later again. And especially with deeper issues, we need to spend time and practice awareness, acceptance, and allowing, and not acting. See, we are not able to enter the being state because we are hardwired to do many things. If I do this one thing, I'll be happy. If I watch this YouTube reel, I'll be happy. If I can't get this chocolate, let me at least check my WhatsApp message. Something I have to do, but the mind has to be slowed down. Only then we can be peaceful. You know what is the psychological game happening here? Is simple. Your mind is your spouse. Remember, your mind is your wife or husband. So when you accept your partner for who they are and give them the space to exist with all their pain, and you don't judge your partner, they release their pain. So then the person becomes peaceful. And then there is a good chance that your partner will also understand you. Otherwise, the mind will scream and jump to action. Do this, do that. So when you're practicing awareness, acceptance, and allowing, if you jump to action, let us say the mind says, eat a chocolate. And if you eat a chocolate, what you are actually doing is, it's like giving solutions to your spouse. See, many times, your spouse doesn't want solution. They just want to be heard, to be understood. So when you are practicing awareness, acceptance, and allowing, you're giving permission and space to be who it is. The mind is a restless, incorrigible crybaby. And when the mind pauses, then you can graciously go to your other activities of the day. The mind will cooperate, guarantee, because you have given space to your mind in your inner existence. So let us say you don't want to do all of this and you just want to do the conventional path of just, I'll take my smartphone, I check everything, or I watch something YouTube, or I go out, I do something. But the problem, if it is deeper issues, it will compound. You can't suppress your desires artificially. You need to face them upfront, and you need to have the courage to accept your fallibility. You need to have the courage to be vulnerable. You need to be able to say that I have these desires and it's okay. I have done these mistakes, or I have done these unhealthy actions, and it's okay. Till you face it, you cannot transcend it. Therefore, awareness, acceptance, allowing, and not acting is the 4 ways or the 4 steps by which we can enter the space of being. I know what you'll ask, Prabhuji, but these 4 things are also doing only. You're doing these 4 things. Yes. It is like taking a thorn and removing the thorn. So ultimately, you throw both the thorns out, which means these 4 A's, they seamlessly integrate into our system. And then as you develop more awareness and internalize it, then you'll be in a state of being. So I would like to end with one small story, and then maybe we can have questions. See, many of us, we consider chanting also as doing. We think if I chant, I will become happy. We don't realize that chanting is happiness. So when I'm saying all this 1 hour class, whatever we had, ultimate essence is this. Our whole process is, please make KC practices not as a means to some future happiness. These practices itself are happiness. So if you are thinking, if I chant, if I do deity worship, I will become happy, then these practices are doing practices for you. But if you think this is happiness, then you're in the being space. There is a very famous story. I heard from Gurujan Prabhu once that a poor man, he approached a king and he said, "My dear king, I've never seen gold in my life. I'm going to die. Can I see gold in your treasury once?" So the king told the minister, "Take him to the treasury, let him see the gold." So as this old man was being taken to the treasury, he was impressed by the pillars, by the steps, by the rooms, by the grandeur of the palace. And finally, after 25 minutes, 30 minutes of walking, he saw the treasury, the box was opened, and then he saw gold. He was not surprised. He was like, "Acha, this is the gold." So the minister said, "Any problem?" He said, "No." The man smiled, the old man. He said, "Oh, now I realize that when I was walking here, the pillars, the steps, the doors, they were also made of gold. I'd never seen gold, so I didn't know what was gold. Now, when I see these coins, I realize this is gold because you are telling me. But what I came through, all that was also gold only." Similarly, we will experience like this. Right now, we are thinking, I will chant Hare Krishna, and one day I will experience something exotic, some happiness. But as we get older in bhakti, we will realize that it is chanting which is happiness. Because we are saying Hare Krishna is not different from Krishna. You are with Krishna. See, when Prabhupada is asked in an interview, "What do you want to get after chanting Hare Krishna?" What did Prabhupada say? "I want to chant more." What does that mean? That means that there is nothing else. You have finished your journey. You have done so much in your so many lifetimes. You have come to Hare Krishna. Now you don't have to do anything. I mean, you chant Hare Krishna, but you enter the space of being. Srila Prabhupada said, "This is my job, to remove all the kachara from the heart." Once he was in a lake, he started digging the ice with his stick. And devotees asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm breaking this ice so that ice is unnatural, foreign condition, and water is liquid state. So I'm breaking the ice so that the water is in liquid state." Similarly, with my speech, with my lectures, with my books, I am breaking the artificial layers on the consciousness. Our natural position is we are servants of God, but we impose so much artificiality on us, on ourselves because of the ego. So Krishna consciousness is to remove all this and be situated in our state of being with Krishna. So I'll pause here. I hope what I said has made some sense, and we can have some question answers and discussions on this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. A very powerful class on awareness, accepting ourselves with what we are, at what stage we are, and then allowing by, you said, like experiencing or embracing the pain, but to not act. The fourth principle you said it's very important. We should not act on it, but the other 3 points that you mentioned. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So before we take up questions, so we have the results ready with us for the polls. So I will try to share on the screen also if the options that you have selected. That's just a result for you to cross check. But the winners, I will request Brajberi Prabhu to announce. So we have 4 winners, and all 4 of them have answered all the 10 questions correctly. Yes,
Wow.
Prabhu. Yeah. So very engaging actually.
So you send me the names?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Oh.
I'll do one thing. I'll send you in the chat now. Chat also. 1 second. Yeah. Can you see in the chat
Yes.
now?
Quiz results. No. I see on chat. Yes. The 4 devotees have answered all the 10 questions correctly. So Abhijit Gupta from Pune. Haribo. Priya Gaurangi Mataji. Third, Chandrika Radha Devi Mataji from USA. And Priya Vazirani from Mumbai. Haribo. So the Abhijit Gupta was the first one to give all the 10 answers. So it's based on timings. So thank you, Abhijit Prabhu, Priya Gaurangi Mataji, Chandrika Radha Mataji, and Priya Vazirani Mataji. Thank you so much for taking. Of course, everybody who has answered and who has taken part in the quiz. Thank you. It's very encouraging. Haribol.
Very well. Thank you. So I think, yeah, so now we can take up some questions. So there were some questions, Prabhuji, that somebody asked on the chat during your conversation. So one of them is from, I think, Kanti Korbe Mataji. And she mentioned Hare Krishna Prabhuji, but I tried to go to surrender and mind started wandering again. Please guide a little more. Is it wrong to judge after accepting? When I'm accepting my flaws, when does my journey of transformation begin? So,
Your journey of transformation has begun when you accepted that your mind is wandering. There is nothing wrong with you. Can you see? That's what I'm saying. You are trying to fix this problem. I'm not saying we should not fix our problems, but can you let go that need to change or improve for some time at least? Because Krishna is the doer. I remember once asking Janani Prabhu, how can I become pure devotee? He said, why do you want to become a pure devotee? Don't become a pure devotee. It's okay. I said, what do you mean? I want to become pure. He said, no need to become pure devotee. Ultimately, why do you want to become pure devotee? I said, whether I can serve Krishna purely. So he said, you want Krishna to accept your offering? I said, yes. So he said, offer Krishna right now. Whatever you have, you offer Krishna right now. Just offer Krishna your existence right now. And let Krishna decide when he wants to make you a pure devotee. So you are thinking too much on when I can overcome, say, I've accepted my flaws, but when will my improvement happen? Are relax, Baba, improvement will happen. You have accepted. See, what you're saying reminds me of a poem I had read. It's by Catherine Crasher. It's an old poem. It's actually based in psychology. This poem became a basis of a psychology concept called centipede syndrome. I don't know if you know this. In psychology, there is a concept. So this is from this poem, which is like this. A centipede was happy, quiet, until a toad in fun said, pray which leg moves after which? This raised her doubts to such a pitch, she fell exhausted in the ditch, not knowing how to run. What this means is, centipede effect means when a normal unconscious activity becomes disturbed because of becoming too conscious of it. So you are doing nice bhakti, but when you become too conscious of it, you are not able to do bhakti properly. Like, cricket batsman, for example. If he's overthinking, oh, I'm holding the bat, oh, I'm holding the bat. So he will not be able to play well because he'll be only focused on, he'll be overthinking about his bat. Or if you are thinking, okay, I have to go to my office, how will I knot my tie? You are overthinking about your tie, you'll make the simple task difficult. Or like, when I'm putting tilak, sometimes I'm too conscious, then my tilak goes ulta pulta pura completely. When you make a simple thing complicated by becoming too conscious of it. So right now you may be, your spiritual practices, you may be like a centipede, that got disorganized and couldn't walk because the frog asked her, my dear centipede, what is wrong with your 25th left foot? When you are dancing, it comes before your 75th leg. The centipede was dancing nicely before. Similarly, you are worried. How do I become peaceful? I have now practiced acceptance, but now how do I become improved? Now how do I enter surrender space? Are Baba, just become aware, accept, allow, and just relax. You simply need to accept and allow your mind to remain who he is. He is an incurable partner whom you cannot divorce. For rest of your life, you are married to him or her, and he will stay with you forever. So just make peace with it, allow the mind to be who it is, and gently come back to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes,
okay, before Shivam Prabhu, before you ask me the next question, I'm remembering one more point here. Many devotees, they ask me, Prabhuji, how do I ensure that I'm present in my activities? How do I be? I'll repeat the question. Very, very funny. How do I ensure that I'm present? How do I ensure that I'm present? How do I be? Are you noticing the irony here? We want to do our being. We still haven't got it. We're not getting it. Hare Krishna. Yes, Shivam Prabhu. You have the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So we have one more question that was asked in the chat from Kashish Rajpurohit Mataji from Saudi Arabia. And she mentioned that while in the process of being acceptance and allowance, we may end up giving up or being guilty. Is it not?
Yeah, that's why I said that's not everything. The fourth step is don't act. You have failed the process if you have not followed the fourth one.
Yeah. So thank you, Prabhu. And we'll ask now Arushi Agarwal Mataji to unmute and ask the question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji, you said that we have to sort of sit and accept every thought like that comes. First, it may be like eat a sweet, then it may be check your phone and not do any of it. So I understand that I try to do that by journaling, but I also noticed that this impulses come like 100 times in a day. And after a while I get tired and I just give up completely. Like I don't know how to keep doing that.
Okay, just do it for 5 minutes every day.
Okay.
See, you can't see, even if you fail, you have succeeded because you have at least done for 5 minutes today.
Yeah.
Eventually, by practice, you'll be able to. It's okay if you give in to the mind. That's what I'm saying again. you know, you begin slow. Okay, now I want to say something which is very close to my heart. Our inability to embrace imperfection, our unwillingness to accept and allow our miserable mind to coexist as we quietly march towards Krishna in our spiritual path. This is the reason why we are suffering the most. I'll repeat what I said. Our inability to embrace imperfection, our unwillingness to accept and allow our distressed mind to coexist as we graciously march towards Krishna. This is our bigger problem than the lust, envy, and the demands of the mind. See, you are worrying, when we worry too much about not being good enough and we overanalyze, that leads to paralysis of the mind. We get stuck. We stay trapped in an overthinking cycle. So therefore, I'm saying it's okay if you're giving in to the demands of the mind. I'm just saying at least start practicing for 5 minutes every day. Then continue your other activities of the day. But at least you've begun awareness, acceptance, and allowing journey. And you'll see that when your prayers to Krishna will become more meaningful, because ultimately it is Krishna who will help you say no to sense gratificatory thoughts. See, you have failed 10 times, at least you will pass once.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, you will realize you have passed twice.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So we have Priya Wazirani Mataji from Mumbai. We would request her to.
Is she one of the 4 who won the quiz?
Yeah, she's the one. Yes.
Haribol.
Yeah, she's the winner. Yes.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for this class, and these sessions are really helping. And my question was, we try to be aware, however, sometimes the emotions are so entangled, whether I'm feeling frustrated or I am disappointed or I am like, can't really make out what am I feeling. So that is my problem in that awareness.
Then you jump and perform action. Put on your shoes, go for a walk. Action punctures the mind's overthinking. Action is great. But see, it is something like this. Overthinking is what? The mind's constantly thinking. It gives you a sense of being productive because you are figuring out a solution. The mind assures you that you are doing something productive because you are trying to get a solution. But you are actually moving in circles. You're not going anywhere. So the best way to puncture the mind is action. And that is why, I generally, when I'm beset with too many challenges of thinking, I just put on my shoes, go for a walk. After 1 hour, I come, I become fresh. Then I'm able to slow down. I mean healthy action. You can't say, okay, I'll distract this problem by watching something on YouTube. No, I mean action like something which is semi-spiritual or spiritual, which helps you to connect to yourself.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, yeah, we have Indu Mataji from Pune. We would request her to kindly unmute and ask the question.
Yeah. Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Prabhuji, I just, from this whole lecture, are we trying to tell our mind that we are trying to train the mind saying that I have this weakness, but I am not going to get into it. I'm not going to do it. Is this the purpose of this whole exercise, Prabhuji? And
No.
another question. Okay.
I'll take this. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to accept who we are and to practice self-compassion.
Okay.
And Krishna is the one who will help us overcome these problems of the mind.
Okay.
We are doing our best. 6th chapter of Gita, Prabhupada gives the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs, and the ocean did not return the eggs.
Yeah.
What did the sparrow do?
It was trying. It was going on trying again and again.
What it was doing? What was the
It was
sparrow doing?
removing water. It was getting water out of its beak, and then
So it was getting the water
draining.
out.
It was trying to drain the ocean.
Wasn't it a stupid exercise to dry up the ocean just because it was not getting the eggs? So, but the Garuda got impressed by the determination of his sister bird. Now, I don't read anywhere that sparrow went into depression because of this, exercise. It was a hopeless task, but the sparrow was occupied doing it sincerely. So we are doing our devotional service sincerely. We may not be able to control our mind, but we keep doing what we are supposed to do, chanting, devotional service. And our problem is we get into depression because we want to control, we want to remove all the problems of the mind, and we'll never be able to do it. It is Krishna who does it. When we practice awareness, acceptance, we become peaceful. See, now I'm giving a very gross example. Pardon me for this. One of the problems devotees face is lust. The more they think, oh, lust, they give in to their demands and urges more, because it is actually not a big deal. It is part of the biology. Just accepting it, you can transcend it. Then you can come to Krishna. When you accept it, you come to Krishna. See, we are making a mountain out of a molehill. See, one devotee went and told Srila Prabhupada, I don't have lust. Prabhupada said, go and see a doctor. Prabhupada said, it's common. So we make two big issues. We blow issues out of proportion. Relax. Be aware who you are. Accept who you are. Allow it to remain in the mantra. I am doing deity worship. But you, Krishna, you are the master. See, when you have awareness, acceptance, and allowing now, you are entering the space of the soul. In that spirit soul state, you can actually beg, you can actually cry to Krishna to remove the anartha. Please understand. We have to beg Krishna, we have to beg forgiveness from Krishna. But that forgiveness cannot be done by the mind, because the mind plays the role of police also and chore also. You cannot trust the mind. The prayer to Krishna has to be at the level of the soul. To be able to make a soul felt or heartfelt prayer, we need to come to the level of the soul. We come to the level of the soul when we separate ourselves from the mind. And we separate ourselves from the mind when we practice awareness, acceptance, and allowing the mind to be what it is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ruji, there is one more question on the chat from Arindam Datta, saying that how to tolerate the pain of not acting on the urge, or what do you do if the pain gets intolerable?
See, if it's an emotional, if it's a craving for food or lust, things like that, you should know that there is a timer. Generally, we are not aware of the timer. If you are having a panja fighting, arm wrestling with another friend, and he's putting you down, and at some point of time you give in to the fight and you allow your arm to go down. That's not because he won it. That's because you let the fight over. You let it go. You capitulated. But if you knew that there is a timer of 1 minute and it is 40 seconds now, then even though you're going down, you will tolerate, you will fight, because you know that after 1 minute, the game round would be over and you would again be at the neutral level. Isn't it? Similarly, when these cravings and the emotional pain becomes intense, You just need to remember that there is a timer attached. Tolerate for some time, and then the mind will get busy with something else. But simply tolerance is not enough in many cases. So therefore, we need remembrance of Krishna. It is remembrance of Krishna that acts as the balm. And the anesthesia is association of devotees. If we have close friends who cannot judge us and give us love and affection, then that anesthesia would help us tolerate the pain. We cannot do it alone. This whole exercise today, the class is not that you fly your own plane. We are an interdependent community of devotees. We need each other. So if the emotional pain is a lot, you please take help. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we have Surabhi Mataji from Ajmer. Hare Krishna. Please unmute and ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this was very nourishing to my heart. But through the class, I was trying to practice whatever you were saying, even while you were saying it. And I realized that senseless, restless energy in my body, and I could feel it. The reason is because I am not able to trust Krishna. Like the planning that I constantly do in my mind is because, there's some level of distrust. So, any particular ways in which you can share from your life in which you give up the control and surrender to Krishna and say I trust you,
Oh, yeah. I'll share two examples from my own life. See, that will help you. First was when I was going from one village in Orissa to Jagannath Puri. Early morning, 4 o'clock, we were driving. We were supposed to reach Puri by 9 a.m. And I saw the driver was driving, was sitting next to me. And suddenly I realized that I asked the driver, did you take rest in the night? He said, I haven't slept for last 48 hours. I said, why? Because he was traveling with me in all the villages of Orissa. And he was actually involved in the night wind up of all the tent and the yatra, the programs we were having. So he never got rest. So I got scared. The next 5 hours is going to be intense. He's going to drive and he's not slept for 48 hours. What if he meets with an accident? So he was driving, I was sitting next to him and chanting. But as I was chanting, in my mind, I was having the steering wheel of the car in my hand. And I was in control of the car, although I had no control. And my chanting was miserable. I couldn't, because every 2 seconds I was looking at him to see if he's awake. And he was driving very fast. And I had to go to Puri because from there I had to go. I had a lot of things lined up. So at one point of time, I'm not advising anybody to do this. This is extremely risky. Please ensure that you have taken rest before you drive your car. This is one exceptional case I'm saying, and I'm not justifying what I did. I'm actually sorry about it, but this is an incident that happened. I had no choice, so I let go the control. At one point of time, I said, no, I cannot control him. I cannot do anything. I'm not driving the car. So I took a deep breath. I said, Krishna, I will chant now without opening my eyes or looking at what he is doing. So it was very difficult. But as I continued chanting, after some time, I entered a space and at 9 o'clock, I opened my eyes. Then he told me I've reached Puri. So the point is, this was a classic case of struggle to surrender. I actually moved into the surrender zone. Another example I remember is during COVID, I was with my mother in my hometown and it was raining heavily one day and the lights went off. It was a mini cyclone. And at one point of time, we thought we were going to die. I held my mother's hand and, and I remember she said, if this is it, let it be. And, as if it was very scary. Water was very high and then I couldn't take her out and a lot of issues were going on. But suddenly at that point of time, I felt a sense of peace. There's a sense of knowing beyond knowing. These are the, where I felt, okay, if this is to happen now, I'm ready. Although the sword of death was above my head, I felt a strange sense of peace at that moment. These are the two instances I can think of when I let go control and struggle and entered the surrender zone. See, from the next class onwards, we will discuss different practices by which we can slow down our minds and we can actually connect with Krishna better. We'll discuss about breathing, journaling, and praying and all of that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we have Ishan Raina Prabhu from Dallas, USA.
Yes. We'll take 3 questions now. I can see Ishan, Rajkumar, and Sharanya Mataji. We'll take these 3 and then I'll have to go. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, Ishan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for this session. My question was, so there are times when your mind gets agitated by the external factors such as the environment you are in. Let's say, for example, at work or in your office situation, a situation gets created and your mind gets constantly agitated by it. Now, let's say you practice the 4 A's of awareness, acceptance, and allowing that misery and that pain that you are in. However, when do you decide to act? Because our mind is conditioned in a way that if you do not act to get out of this situation, then who will get you out of it if you don't do it? So, any thoughts on that?
Externally, you have to do the needful, Prabhu. We're not talking about the external world. See, I began the class by speaking about our inner world. Okay. See, what happens is in our inner world, we live in the house of sense gratification, struggle, and surrender. So in the inner world, you let go the struggle and just surrender. Externally, you may have to do the needful. I know one very big leader who is busy the whole day and he sleeps only 4 hours at night and has never taken a holiday and he's been working for so many years and he's always peaceful because internally he's in the surrender zone. Externally, he's fighting, he's handling critics, he's declaring war on his competitors. So externally, do whatever it takes, whatever needs to be done, do it. But internally, you need to let go the struggle. You need to let go the thought that you are in control, you're in charge of your life. You need to allow the universe or you need to allow Krishna to take charge of your life. You need to be able to pray, Krishna, I'm yours. Krishna, please accept me. Krishna, I let go this struggle. I'm doing this, Krishna, please accept this as a service to you. I'm going to give a mouth with him. Krishna, this is a service to you. So this is what you're doing like Arjuna. Arjuna was not sitting in the chariot and doing pranayama. He was fighting a war, but internally he had surrendered to Krishna. So this is the whole thing I'm talking about in that sense. Of course, I gave an example of my car drive to Puri, but that was to make the point emphatic. But in day-to-day life, it's not the external life. It's about the inner world. We need to let go the struggle. When we are chanting, basically, it's our inner struggle. So externally, you have to do the needful in office, in your workplace. Yeah. And even there, when exactly to give back, you learn by trial and error. You make some mistakes, you regret, then you move on. I heard one very expert surgeon say that, I had to make a few blunders before I became an expert surgeon. There was some collateral damage, and now I am a great surgeon. So similarly, in your own life, you may blunder in some communications, some business dealings. You can't become perfect. You can't have a perfect formula right to begin with. I mean, then how would you evolve? How would you grow? So that's the way I would see it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. So yes, Rajkumar Prabhu from Pune can unmute, ask question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so very much for wonderful content as always. And my question is, Prabhuji, that we are supposed to chant 16 rounds every day, right? And we always say that in order to get taste, you have to chant more, right? And we people in being in corporate life, we are constrained by time a lot. And what happens in order to get taste in chanting, we chant more, and we are forced with some time constraint, and we get into the space of doing as you suggested today, rather than being into the space of being. But right now, I'm thinking that probably is it not that my mind is telling me, tricking me that you better be in the space of being, and chant less, and rather be in the space of being more. And is it like, am I not? Will I not progress if I go into this mood, or what should I do? I'm stuck actually.
So if I understand you correctly, you are saying your mind is now suggesting that you chant less rather than extra.
No, my mind is now, after hearing your class, my mind is suggesting rather than chanting 32 rounds every day or weekends, you better do less, but rather do quality chanting. So, am I reversing on my path? What should I do?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. This is your journey. Honestly, I can't help you on this because 32 rounds you could still chant. If you like chanting 32 rounds, you could still chant, and you could always be in the being space. You could always chant. It may take a little longer time, but if you have been chanting all these days 32 rounds, I don't see a reason why you need to stop it, unless you are you don't want to do it. I mean, if you're doing it because somebody has ordered you or because of some pressure, then you can't sustain it unless you want to do it. See, if you have to do it, it cannot be sustained over a period of time. You need to want to do it. So, okay, even if you can't chant extra, what about spending some time every day, quality time where you connect with Krishna in your own unique way? See, my whole emphasis is on connecting with Krishna, not with some activity. You are focusing on the different activities. Now, should I read 10 pages of Bhagavatam every day? Now, I know devotees who finished entire Krishna book in the month of Kartik. So somehow I'm not speaking about the milestones to achieve or the things to tick your boxes. I'm just talking about your inner drive, and that exactly how many rounds to chant, or that is your struggle. Because mind will cheat you anyways. Even if you reduce, you think your mind would say, oh, now you enter the being space. The mind is always tricky. So the mind is always going to be tricky either ways. So it's not going to work like that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Then we have the last question, I think, from Sharanya Mataji from Hyderabad. Request here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Panchang Pranam. Thank you very much for this lecture. So my question is that when we make mistakes and the consequences of our mistakes are very terrible. So in that situation, how do we accept them without judging ourselves? And when we see that others are judging us and they seem to be exhausted with us, how do we accept ourselves?
So there are two issues here. One is you judging yourself, and the second is others judging you.
Yes,
regarding you judging yourself, this is the whole process of bhakti, coming to Krishna, practicing self-compassion, knowing that you were brave, you are courageous to have made a mistake or whatever. I mean, you are vulnerable, you are weak, and I can suggest some books that you could read to practice self-compassion through Shivam. I can share with you. And regarding others, that's another subject matter completely. You can't really stop the world from judging you. You're constantly being judged. So when people judge me harshly, I take it as a lesson that Krishna is teaching me not to judge others harshly. Not to, this is the way I've been judged wrongly. Okay, Krishna, thank you for teaching me. I will not do this with others, what they have done to me. So whenever you face harsh judgment, it is Krishna telling you what not to do with others. Regarding you judging yourself, you can practice self-compassion by, it's generally easy for us to advise others than ourselves. Imagine the mistakes that you're talking about. You didn't do it. Your friend did it. How would you console your friend? So what's your name again, Mataji? I forgot. I mean, I'm not able to.
Sharanya
Mataji. Now, I'll just ask you a simple thing. Let us say you have a friend. You are Sharanya. Let's say all the mistakes you have done. Imagine your friend's name is, say, Surbi. Let's say Surbi did all these mistakes. So now you write a letter to Surbi, but you're actually writing to yourself. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes,
you have done all these mistakes. You are facing the consequences. But imagine it's your friend who has done all this. How will you console your friend? Write a letter to Surbi. And you'll discover amazing solutions. Because in this world, we are experts in advising others. We are experts in helping others, but we can't help ourselves. The whole world is giving gyan. So I do this. When I am like in a quagmire, I take a pen and paper I have a journal called a cringe conversion journal. That is one of the 7 journals I practice. So how to convert a cringe moment to a happy moment by writing a letter to someone else who's going through this. So I write. So, like when you write, for example, if you write, dear Surbi, you're very dear to Krishna. This mistake is not actually a mistake. Your intention was very good. And then after the whole letter, you read it, it is as if, wow, yeah, I'm good. You'll feel compassionate on yourself. I don't know if this solution, you can try this technique. This is a very good trick.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Okay,
then we can.
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyavcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. I have to leave now, but I love all of you very much, and I eagerly look forward. Today morning, I was so excited at the prospect of sharing with all of you what is close to my heart, because these are some of the things I don't share on the Vyasasana so much, and this is what has deeply moved me and convinced me of the practice of Krishna consciousness. So I look forward for ABC sessions, and thank you for coming together every fortnight and giving me an opportunity to share all of this with you. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.